What's going on, guys? My name is Steve. Thank you for stopping by my channel. Today we're going to be reacting to how do today's Loyalist teenagers see their Northern Irish identity. I'm honestly not 100% sure I understand what they mean by this title. Obviously, these teenagers are from Northern Ireland, but by Loyalist, do they mean they're more loyal to the UK? Or are these teenagers in Northern Ireland that are more loyal to their Irish identity and would like to see a unified Ireland? Either way, I thought this would be interesting to check out. So let's just go ahead and dive in and learn about these Loyalist teenagers and their Northern Irish identity.
Loyalism. Loyalty to Ulster, loyalty to Britain. But the thing that trumps them both, loyalty to neighbourhood.
I like British values. It's just sort of my understanding of the way it is.
When we talk about Protestant culture, what does that mean to you?
Bonfires and band parades and orange orders.
Well, my nanny and granddad drummed it in I was going to be a Protestant and told me everything about it.
Like what kind of stories?
It's the stuff that like the other side done, like, wasn't really that good.
Yeah.
But I know they were bad as each other, but just great with it.
But you have Catholic mates, do you?
And nowadays, yeah.
For these young people, loyalism and unionism are at a crossroads post-Brexit and the Northern Irish Protocol.
That's so foreign to me to have such divide within denominations of Christianity. It's just not something I've ever experienced in my life. I can only imagine growing up in that environment to where, you know, there was a lot of violence around religion. And I'm glad that it seems to be much more peaceful nowadays than I've learned it was, you know, really not too long ago, just, you know, a couple of decades ago.
But this crisis is personal, not just political. Debate about the future of the Union and even a shared or united Ireland offends their very sense of themselves.
If the Union doesn't survive, what happens to unionism?
It's just going to be downhill. They're just going to take over. They're going to try to take over.
Who are they?
The Catholics.
Yeah.
And the people from the south, they'll just think they're on the place.
Yeah.
Wow, man. It's so foreign to me, man. Like this religious divide. Wow, it's still there, man. It's something you just don't see in America. We don't, I mean, people have their religions and they disagree or whatever, but it's just not that strong of a, you know, I don't know. It's just not that big a deal here. It's so interesting to see that be such an issue still. But okay, so obviously that answered my question. These are teenagers that are loyal to the UK or more of the British side of things, if you will. Which is not really something I thought this video, I didn't think that would be where this video is going, because I feel like a lot of people in Northern Ireland probably already are. And so I feel like if you were going to title someone Loyalist in Northern Ireland, it would be more of loyal to the unification of things, you know, unified Ireland or whatever. It's just not the term I would have thought they would have used for this, considering I from what I understand, it seems like most people in Northern Ireland are happy with being the way things are, I guess, or not being unified, if you will. I could be wrong on that, but that's just the impression I've got under the comments and things like that.
Basically try to run our culture into the ground.
Let's imagine a united Ireland in 10 years from now. What would your world be like?
I wouldn't like it. I would move away. Like, I would feel under threat all the time walking down the street if it was to turn into United Ireland. Because you feel like that sometimes already.
They're just going to steal everything from us, all our freedom. But if it happens, the troubles will more than likely start up again.
Abby and Ryan talk about their rights and their culture under siege, a narrative once owned by the Catholic community in Northern Ireland, and rightly so, now echoed by Protestant young people born after the Good Friday Agreement.
So, sorry to pause again. I'm just like, this is so foreign to me that I don't really understand it. Like, I don't understand what, by having a unified Ireland, what rights do they think they're going to lose? Or like, what really changes other than the fact Ireland would just be its own full, like Ireland, Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland would be its own just one nation again. Obviously they wouldn't be part of the UK, but what really changes for Northern Ireland if that happens? I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I just don't understand. I'm not really sure. But yeah, please let me know in the comments, because I am so lost on what the big difference would be in that regard.
Would there be a world where you had a united Ireland but could still have your bonfires and parades?
No.
I don't think so, no. It'll just
Why
turn
are you
into
so
troubles.
sure about that? I don't get it.
They want our culture away already. Like, they will come into here and try burn that at night and stuff.
As unpalatable as it sounds, some of the young loyalists we spoke to saw the riots a few weeks ago as kids fighting for the future of their country. The perception that Catholic nationalists and Republicans are getting everything and getting away with everything is loyalism's rocket fuel.
A lot of these kids are just so bored, and whether you like it or not, a riot is exciting, and especially for a young sort of teenager.
Yeah, I guess so.
Along with his mates, Joel Keyes is gathering wood in a forest outside
Not
Belfast
good, but yeah, it is
for their
exciting.
bonfire in July.
Kids do a lot of things that are exciting that aren't
The
good, I suppose.
19-year-old was arrested during the riots in Belfast, released without charge and is on bail.
So I went down to see what was going on, and I saw someone that I know. He's a young fella. He's not a bad person at all.
Says he tried to help his 13-year-old friend. Joel wasn't involved in the violence itself. The riots started some people asking, though, perhaps even in Downing Street, what's loyalism again?
Loyalist pretty much nowadays it's a term that's used to describe paramilitaries and criminals. And that's not at all what loyalism is. It's not what loyalists are. I don't think you can be a criminal.
What does it mean to you?
I like British, or what I perceive to be British ideals, British values.
But there's something about British values that's
Yeah.
kind of knitted into your person and your sense of yourself.
Definitely.
There are lots of different interests fighting over loyalism's soul. For Joel, the young people rioting was a symptom of that struggle.
At the minute, all they are being told and all they are getting answers from is fighting. You know, we have all this media attention, and what does it come from? The fights. It hasn't come from our politicians, it hasn't come from community representatives, it has come from the fighting. And that tells people that fighting works. And what they need is to be presented with an alternative. This is what we want, this is how we're going to get it, let's work on it together. There is no trust in the politician. We can't just leave them to it. We can't just say to them, all right, we'll back off and let you handle it, we trust you. That confidence is gone. We need a roadmap. We need people to be included in that process, and we need real political goals.
In Northern Ireland, loyalism's story is painted on the walls, carefully crafted, monumental. At Lanark Gate in Belfast, where the rioting happened, though, there are also crude, sad footnotes telling other stories too.
Porrick O'Brien reporting, and Sir Geoffrey Donaldson has confirmed that he's entering the race for the Democratic Unionist Party leadership. His decision to run means that the DUP will be holding the first leadership contest in its 50-year history after Arlene Foster announced her resignation last week.
I'm just not sure I understand. Like, when I picture going to either Northern Ireland or the Republic of Ireland, I understand that Northern Ireland's in the UK. You know, I understand that obviously it's more Protestant from what I understand, and the Republic of Ireland is more Catholic, right? But I just, I understand they've had a lot of trouble there, the Troubles, for example. But I guess I just don't understand is, like, if I was to go to Belfast in Northern Ireland, I was go to Dublin in Republic of Ireland, what differences am I going to notice, with values and things like that? That's something I don't. Obviously, I got to dive in much deeper and learn a lot more about Ireland. But on the surface, as a foreigner looking in, I don't see anything, like value-wise seems to be that different. Like, I feel like both sides value freedom, right? Both sides probably value free speech. I'm guessing both sides. I don't know. Just I feel like they value a lot of the same values that we value here in America on both sides. There, I'm guessing, because I feel like the British and America, we have a lot of the same values, and I feel like the Republic of Ireland would probably share in those values. I feel like they would. Am I wrong there? I mean, I don't understand it. I just don't get I don't get the view that they're talking about here. I don't understand. I just need someone to explain it to me because I don't understand it at all. I just don't understand. Except I understand there's extremists, right? I understand there's extremists that, will fight tooth and nail to the death for what they believe in. And they're, and if you're fighting for something good, that's a worthy goal to fight for something really good. But I just don't know. I just need help understanding this because I just don't completely understand.
So Jeffrey will take on the current Northern Ireland Agriculture Minister, Edwin Poots.
Today, Northern Ireland enters its second century. I am convinced that in this new century, Northern Ireland's best days are ahead of us. We want to build a shared future for everyone in Northern Ireland, where we can all, regardless of our background, have a part to play in showing the world what we are truly capable of.
Well, we're joined now by the political commentator, Sarah Crichton. Sarah, thanks very much for coming on our programme. Tell me about the power struggle in the DUP. Is the party heading in a more hardline direction, or is that a wrong assumption?
I think that the fear at the moment is that it is going to go in a hardline direction. Edwin Poots and Jeffrey Donaldson are very different people within the DUP. They also represent different factions within the DUP. Edwin Poots would be from the much more conservative wing. I mean, Jeffrey Donaldson is conservative as well, but he would be seen as a moderate within that party. And I mean a DUP moderate, not a moderate in the sense maybe the GNI would know or speak of. But certainly there is a concern that the DUP is maybe going to regress back into its fundamentalist roots. Edwin Poots quite recently boycotted a North-South ministerial meeting. For instance, there's a concern that if he became the party leader or indeed First Minister, that he would maybe take them down a much more obstructionist path, that he a much more aggressive path. And for many people who are concerned about unionism, they don't think that is going to be conducive to the future of the union or indeed the Northern Ireland's future.
It's really fascinating listening to the voices in Pádraig O'Brien's piece. I mean, amongst those young voices, there seems to be a really serious existential crisis going on about their future, how they see their future and their values assured in the union.
Absolutely, and I think those young people, they articulated themselves very well. I may not agree with everything that they said, but I think for a lot of those young people, they are very concerned about their future, about the future of Northern Ireland. They care about that very passionately. I don't agree, that if United Ireland happened, that the unionism would be downtrodden, that it would be treated badly. But I think the concern that their culture would not be respected is very genuine, and it comes from a very genuine place. And certainly for them, looking at the protocol, looking at Brexit, and with the violence, and that disconnect with their politicians, that sense that their politicians are not representing them, they feel these things very strongly, and there's quite clearly a desire there for their concerns to be heard by those in power.
And is there a real problem here that their social and cultural values might actually be more in tune with the social and cultural values of young people in the Republic of Ireland, and not so much with people like those running for the DUP leadership at the moment?
Within unionism, and I think there's a huge distinction between political unionism and civic unionism, and indeed civic loyalism as well. Young unionists and Protestants within Northern Ireland have always been much more socially progressive than their politicians, and statistics show that quite a significant number of young unionists don't actually vote for unionist parties. So I would say that the concerns that they feel really are connected with young people across these islands, not just within Britain, but within the Republic as well. I think there's a real desire within unionist communities for more progressive social change. The communities that those young people came from are often suffering from social deprivation. I think there's a real push within those communities for better futures to fight against poverty and other social issues.
And finally, if the problem of progressive unionism, of finding a voice in politics for those people isn't solved, Does that make, ultimately, further down the road, the end of the union more likely?
I think it's difficult to say, but certainly I think that if unionism does not connect with those young people, if it does not connect within progressive, socially progressive unionists and unionists on the left or liberals, I do think there is a danger that for many people within Northern Ireland who are persuadable, so unionists who maybe do think they might consider United Ireland, and obviously United Ireland obviously is a conservative country, but obviously it is progressed on abortion and equal marriage. There is a concern that people might think that constitutional change is the only way to bring about change within Northern Ireland, and I think that is a real concern for unionism. And I think if it doesn't tap into that, if they don't listen to those voices, I do think there could be potential trouble further down the line.
Interesting. Sarah Crichton, thank you very much indeed.
All right, guys. This was really interesting. I think I understand it maybe a little bit more. Is this mainly what they're talking about? Is there's a difference? Like she said, what'd she say? The Protestants in the North are a little bit more socially, what'd she call it? Socially progressive or something like that. So is that really what it's about? Is it because, generally speaking, that the Catholics of the Republic of Ireland are more conservative than the Protestants in the North? Is that basically the difference here? So there's some obviously some political differences there because of conservative values versus more socially liberal values, if you will. There's obviously a difference in what you think about all sorts of different issues. Is that what this is about? Is that why they don't want to see a unified Ireland? For the simple fact that they don't feel like their values are going to mesh when it comes to this group being more conservative and this group being more progressively liberal. Well, that's what we would call it in America. You got basically conservatives and liberals. But you get what I'm saying. Is that basically what this is? Because I'm looking at this as an outsider and I'm like, I just don't see anything else there. I mean, I just never been through this, so it's just such a foreign thing that people are, have fought so much over, like what I see all the time in my own town or in my own state. People are divided all the time on these issues, but I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I don't know the context I'm missing here. I need more context. I also need to see the opposite side of this as well, to see their perspective. That'll give me more of an understanding of what I'm looking at here. But I definitely thought this was interesting and a great start to kind of learning about this divide that seems to be going on, between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. And it honestly, it still seems to basically, from what I understand here, it seems to be mostly on a religious divide, Protestants versus Catholics. That's interesting. It really is interesting. And if that is the case, that it mainly is a Protestant versus Catholic thing, it makes me wonder what it's like to be, for example, a Catholic in mostly Protestant Northern Ireland, or a Protestant in mostly Catholic the Republic of Ireland. What that's like, for those individuals. And if those individuals can live happily in the opposite area, if you understand what I'm saying, then it would seem to me that there could be some possibility of a merger, of a unification again. I've got to believe that, even though you can't technically, a lot of people can't technically see Ireland being unified right now, I've got to say, I think most people in Ireland, if there was a way to wave a magic wand and, just get rid of all the disagreements, they would obviously probably like for the entire island to be unified again, if that was possible in a very, a very clean manner, so to speak, and everything could go well doing that, and there wouldn't be any major fighting for it. But That currently doesn't seem to be the case, I guess. But yeah, guys, please explain away in the comments exactly what you feel about this topic, whether you're from Northern Ireland or you're Republic of Ireland. Yeah, guys, enough rambling for me. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow me on my journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. Until next time, guys, peace.